Hey guys, what's up? Joe here, and welcome to my vlog post number 15 following my coaching qualification journey. And a little bit of exciting news, this is also my 20th video. So feels like a little bit of a milestone to be getting video number 20 out. And again, considering I started this back in December, feels really crazy that I'm stood here, still doing this, still talking to the camera, and still committing to this YouTube journey alongside everything else that is going on at the moment. Now, before I get into this, I want to give a little bit of an update on about how I am. Nothing serious. I've made it sound way more serious than it actually is. But I told you guys I would give you the raw, honest truth. And honestly, I'm feeling pretty burnt out. The kind of relentlessness of doing my level 3 course for my tennis coaching into my paddle level 2 coaching course is starting to hit. I have also got a lot of work on trying to finish off some projects and stuff at my full-time job, which, as you know, anyone who's watched my previous videos will know, I'm soon to be leaving. So hopefully in July I will have a lot more free time. I will be able to put my feet up a little bit and actually relax and recover. But yes, I'm definitely starting to feel the tide a little bit now. But I'm going to keep pushing on. I'm trying to make sure I'm taking that time for myself, trying to make sure I've got a little bit of time to rest and recover when I can. Is not always the easiest, especially with the amount of work that I'm trying to keep on top of. So anyway, enough about me moaning. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update about what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks with regards to my paddle course and what I've got coming up, and a little bit more information around the kind of qualification experience side of the coursework that I also need to do as well. So in my last video, I kind of gave a bit of a debrief about what I did in my first two face-to-face days, which were all around, how to set up a good lesson, how to do observation and analysis, the structure of a lesson, how to do demonstrations, a little bit of information around feeding as well, how to do things off, say, like the back glass, how to do some things tactically in paddle, and how to, kind of the best ways of winning. So there's a lot covered in the first 2 days. And obviously, since then, I've had coursework to do. So I've had a lot of online learning, a lot of things to read. There's also been some tests in there as well. It's not quite as intense as the level 3 is. However, there's still a lot to cover. What I am hoping is that the next two lots of, sort of after the next two face-to-face days, it won't be quite as intense. I think the reason this felt particularly intense was because I'd done essentially 2 modules on the Saturday and the Sunday. So I had 2 modules worth of online learning and everything to complete, and then obviously reflections to do on top of that. So I pretty much spent 2 days kind of plowing through all of that work, which I've now done. But yeah, it was quite hard to kind of sit down and dedicate that time to it. So I'm glad I've got that out of the way, and I'm looking forward to what's coming up in my next days. So the module 3 day is actually happening this weekend. The module 3 is going to be all around movement in paddle, so I'm very interested to see how that is going to be very similar probably to tennis in some ways, but also how it's going to differ as well. Then there's also some information in there around coaching large groups, so I'm imagining that means coaching across multiple courts. Again, should be very interesting. There's going to be some stuff in there around inclusion. I'm guessing that's going to be stuff to do with probably disability paddle, which I'm really looking forward to doing. And there's also going to be some stuff in there about confidence building as well. So probably stuff to do with setting some process goals and how to build confidence in, particularly in novice players and probably in adults as well, or very young players, and how to build that confidence and give people that want to stay in the sport as well. So that's all coming up on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, I've also booked in to do my elective module, which will be a morning, and that is going to be around LTA Youth Paddle. So I think a lot of that is probably going to be how you differentiate a paddle youth session to a tennis session. So the sort of the frameworks and everything else for youth paddle basically follow the tennis youth framework, same sort of ball progression, same skill progression, all those sorts of things. But understanding, well, how do we make it feel like a paddle session and not just another youth tennis session? So again, very much looking forward to that. I think that'll be very interesting. So then in terms of the other things that I've got to do, I just wanted to kind of cover the other side of the bits of coursework that I need. One of them is the feeding task, and probably something that I spoke about a little bit on the last video, but just to kind of reiterate that side of things, essentially I have to set myself up with a basket just behind the service line, and then if you imagine you've got the glass panels down the other end, 2 glass panels on the left hand side count as number 1, and then the panels going across the back, you have 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then the 2 panels on the right hand side count as number 7. And essentially I have 1 minute and I have to try and go round numbers 1 to 7, hitting feeding the ball in and out of the hand, getting it to bounce, and then hitting each of the individual paddles if I can. Now, in 1 minute, I have to try and score 35 shots hitting the paddles as we go around. It doesn't have to be in a row, but I have to try and score 35 in that time frame. And I'm also scored on a couple of other things like sort of my athleticism whilst I'm doing it, if I'm looking up, what my tempo's like, how I'm sort of feeding the balls, all those sorts of things. So there's a couple of other bits that I'm scored on as well in that too. Not too worried about any of that. I did have a bit of a practice of that in my last face-to-face days, and I think I'll be fine. I just need to put the time into it and just get it done at some point in the next couple of weeks. So that's coming up. The other thing as well, which is kind of the other big thing, the other big bit of coursework, is the qualification experience. Now, this has been a little bit complicated to wrap my head around, and I think partially because the paddle course is newer, it doesn't seem to be as well laid out on the LTA Learn. So I've had a little bit of difficulty understanding exactly what's required, but I think I've now got my understanding of it. So essentially, I'm meant to do 8 sessions. Now, these sessions, they say, ideally would be split. 4 of them would be adult sessions and 4 of them would be junior sessions. Now, I'm already hitting a bit of a hurdle there because I don't think there are any junior sessions at my club, but also as well, I'm very limited on the time that I can dedicate to this at the moment. So I will be focusing probably just on adult sessions, but I'm hoping to do 2 different groups and do 4 sessions in 2 different groups. The first part of this task is then to submit I've got sort of a couple of forms or a couple of documents that I need to submit. So one of them is an assessment of the player's ability. So I will do, my first session. I'll look at how well they can play, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what things I think they need to work on. I then do a document where I'm lesson planning, and this is very, very top level lesson plan. It's not like a super detailed, I'm going to set the cones out here and I'm going to set lines out here, and this is exactly where they're going to be stood. It's a very, very top level. Okay, today we're going to work on consistency, looking at ground strokes, moving our opponent around using, say, the forehand or something like that, and maybe a little bit of detail about how I would do that, but it doesn't have to be paragraphs and paragraphs of things. So plan my lessons out. And then I also have to do at the start of each session, I have to do a risk analysis whereby again, we've got a very clear template on this, and we go around and we say, how's a risk analysis being performed? Were there any risks? If there were, note down what they were. What actions did I take to kind of remove those risks? And what actions did I take to maybe mitigate them in the future as well? So those are the things I need to kind of submit, as I'm going, or sort of beforehand for the lesson planning and the player kind of observation side of things, but then also the risk assessment will be something that I submit at the end. And then the other kind of half to it is, now what I'm meant to do is I'm meant to record all 8 of the sessions that I coach. Now, again, in reality, because of the setup that I've got available to me, I won't be coaching all 8 of those sessions. I'm actually going to be working as an assistant in those sessions. So I know the coach well who is doing them, and I'm hoping that, there'll be times when I can run parts of the session, or maybe I can run a session or 2. But realistically, the lead coach is going to be running the majority of those sessions. So I won't be recording all eight sessions and won't be getting all of that footage. However, I don't think I really need to. So the videos that I actually need to submit, there's 4 main videos that I need to submit. One of them is showing an observation and analysis stage. So it's a 7-minute long video, 2 minutes of me setting it up, and then 5 minutes of me running the observation analysis, making sure to rotate the players around as well. Then the second video is very much going to be something just like this, whereby I've done sort of a review of the first video and I go, right, I think that as a whole, the group sort of struggled with this. So for example, let's say they were working on the lob, but they weren't getting that lob, deep enough, or they weren't getting enough height on the lob. Then I would highlight that in my second video and go, from my first video, I saw that the group struggled getting height on their lob. So I would work on this, and this is why we would do it from a tactical point of view, and this is technically what I would teach them. So those are the first 2 videos. The second 2 videos are very similar in the format, except they don't have to be on the same theme. And the second video, the second 2 videos are from the closed practice stage, and then a review of the closed practice stage, and then how I would progress it. So, for example, using a different shot, because I don't have to do the same thing as what I did for my observation and analysis, my second lot of videos might be on, let's say, how the volleyers attack at the net, say down the line, or something like, down the middle of the court, for example. So video number 3 would then be, okay, well, I set up a closed practice whereby, players are feeding, there's players at the net and they are trying to practice that particular shot, getting that correct tactical outcome. And then the final video again would be another one just like this for a couple of minutes going, this is what went well, and this is how I would progress it, either to make the task harder or for an open practice and then for a game. So I don't have to actually show all stages of the lesson. I also don't have to show all of the same theme either. And I think the reason that we're meant to record all 8 sessions is so that essentially you have something to pick and choose from. But what I'm going to try and do is just film a few of the sessions or a few of the sections in different sessions that I am coaching, and then I can pick and choose as I need to. So yeah, so essentially I just wanted to explain that because it kind of helps consolidate that idea in my head about what I need to do. I probably have got some of that information wrong, but I'm starting to get it a little bit more in my head, and I just wanted to explain that out loud to try and help make that feel a little bit better for me as well, and hopefully give you guys some information on what is required as part of this course if you are obviously interested in doing it, or you may be doing it as well and you're looking for more information. So as always, if you've got to this point in the video and you've made it all the way to the end of my ramblings, as always, thank you so much. If you're doing any of these qualifications or any of this interests you, please do go and check out my other videos. As I said, I've basically come to the end of my level 3 qualification. I still have my summative assessment to do there, but I've given a lot of detail, a lot of information about the level 3 course. I'm obviously doing my paddle course at the moment, so there will be more information coming out about that as well. And I also recently finished off the Ali Abdaal 7 video challenge, where I tried my hand at doing some other videos. So again, if you're interested in that, please do go check out my channel. And if you want to see more content like this, then please do like, comment, and subscribe. But until next time, take care. Thank you so much, and goodbye.